Morning everybody. I just got here at the trail that I'm going to do today. It is the Quittie Creek Trail, Nature Trail, and it's located in Anneville, PA. On my way in, it started raining, then it started hailing, and then it started snowing, and now I think it's back to rain again, so we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I just need to get out of my Airbnb place. It's just so, quiet there, but also, it's a small space, and I just need to get out and get some relief from a lot of the stressors that I've been going through this week. So hopefully I won't get too much rain underneath the trees. Okay, so when you first get here, you're coming down this little driveway. It's kind of it's called Bachman Drive, and you're driving through Anneville, and it's a cute little historic town, and then all of a sudden it's in between two houses, and you just turn down this Bachman Drive, but it goes all the way back to this little area. This is the first parking lot where there is a bathroom. There's a sign there for information. I pulled all the way up into the second parking lot and walked back down here so that I can use the little bathroom before I go. From the first parking lot, there is it looks like a couple different trailheads, and as I looked on my AllTrails map, you can start from down here or up at the second parking lot. There's actually two trailheads that I see here. This one starts out straight up, and there's a little sign up there. Don't really know what that is, but it looks like this is kind of a loop, even though the AllTrails description said out and back. So I'm gonna head down to the second parking lot again and see what I can see down there. So before I head out, I thought this sign, this information sign, was pretty interesting. Little history. Quittapahella derives from the Lenape Indian phrase meaning stream that flows from the ground among the pines, and reminds us of this region's rich indigenous past. This kiosk sits along Bachman Rd. In 1834, Peter Bachman bought a grist mill where the pedestrian bridge now stands. Around 1860, a limestone quarry was started just over the hill to the east. The 1875 map shows a grist mill, a sawmill, tenement house, and home of J.K. Bachman just across the creek. A postcard from the early 20th century shows sawmill, grist mill complex at the far left and quarry outbuildings. Lime kilns atop the hill just to the east dried and cured limestone for fertilizer and cement. By the early 40s, the stretch and the 10 acres to the east were completely denuded of trees and other vegetation. For 85 years, 1860 to 1945, the quarry mill kiln complex made this whole area an active industrial zone. And there's more if you want to, I took a picture, and if you want to pause the video and read it, but it sounds like there's a lot of history here. So I'm walking back to the second parking lot. There's a lot of benches and picnic tables along here. I see there's a fisherman walking to go down and fish in the creek, and we're heading up to the pedestrian bridge. Not real sure where this pedestrian bridge takes you. I don't know if it was just put in for people to just walk across, or if it actually circles back around to the trail. But I know the creek is out here to the right of me. Oh, it goes over the creek. So here we go. This is Quittie Creek. Looks like a nice little creek. Good place to fish. And it looks like it just goes to the end here, so you can walk across the creek and, kind of you know, just enjoy the creek and stuff. The end of it ends up and you go back to a different part of Bachman Rd. So I'm gonna head back to where AllTrails has the trail starting officially. The trail starts out here by the pedestrian bridge, and you can go down, I imagine, a couple more other areas along the way to see the creek. There's a couple people out here today. I'm really surprised. It's like 40 degrees, a little bit chilly. We still have some really pretty leaves all over the place. Just the trees are getting more and more sparse, but there are still some pretty leaves out. As you can see, we're following along this creek here still. And I don't know, it looks like a really nice walk despite the temperatures. And it did stop raining for the moment and no snow. So I'm glad I persisted. So off to the left here, I see a little trail that goes up. And you know, it says cliff ahead, watch your step. So naturally, I have to figure out or explore this area. So I walked up the hill, and there's several different ways to go around. It's like there's constantly multiple trails to the left and right. I don't want to keep going. I did not see any kind of a cliff, just saying. But maybe if I kept going off trail, I would get to one. I just don't see where there would be a cliff, because right up over the hill here is a development of some sort. Just don't see how there would be any cliffs. So I'm going to go back down to the trail by the creek. There really are a lot of benches here, and the trail, as you can see, is nice and wide, very well maintained, easy to walk, dog friendly, kid friendly. Look at this pretty part of the creek here. I love water features. They make every hike so much better. So a couple little things. Along the trail so far, like I said, I've seen a lot of benches. There's also quite a few sewer cap thingies like that. Not sure why. But it is very chilly out today, and so naturally I have my buff on. But I wanted to tell you also that one thing that really helps when you're getting into the colder weather seasons are heated gloves. And even though I have to take them off and on for filming, they really make a big difference in my hike. So just keep warm out there and continue to enjoy your nice hikes until it gets, you know, too cold for your comfort level. That's what I'm doing. I also have on these cover up winter pants that go over top of my thermals. So that's just another thing you can do to extend your hiking season. Just, you know, layer up, layer up. You can hear a train in the background off and on through here. And there are just tons of birds out, just all over the place here. And you still get to see this beautiful creek. It's at a bend in the trail right now. Another sewer cap. Not sure what's up here. We might be coming out to a road of some sort. Still following the creek, however, for now. So it looks like there's a juncture here where you can go to the left and complete a loop, or you can go forward and walk up this road a little bit. Let's just see how far up we can go without walking on a main road, because I do see one out here with a bridge. A lot of this unique looking bamboo, I think it is, over here. Okay, so you do go across a road, but I can see signs over there and it says the trail continues. So apparently it just follows along this creek for a little while, and then you turn around and go back and complete the loop. So heading over here, or maybe it doesn't. Oh yeah, there's the creek right there. So you go through an open space area and back into the woods, and you're still following along this beautiful creek here. And I tell you what, I have seen more sewer caps than I believe I would have seen trail markers. Don't know why, but if you lose your way, just follow the sewer caps. Kind of crazy. Still, so far, a very beautiful trail. So something interesting, this is one of the first real interesting things I saw, is this, whatever this is across the creek here. It looks something man-made. Not sure if it had anything historical, you know, to do with this place, but you know, it's something. Apparently the trail will stop right up here, probably pretty abruptly, and then I'll have to turn around and go back and complete the loop on the other side. Sorry, this is so bouncy, I'm walking. Okay, yep, this looks like to be the end of the trail, just kind of abruptly ends. The creek continues on, but as you can see, there's a lot of development stuff around it beyond this point. So, time to turn around and head back. So while I'm on my way back to the juncture where I can finish the rest of the loop, sometimes I just like to add in stuff later in the video to see how many people are actually watching this far along. But I'm out here trying to relieve some stress. I sold my house back in September, and it finally settled at the beginning of November, not without problems, but I finally did get the settlement. And currently, in between, I'm staying at an Airbnb, which has also had its own issues. And then I was supposed to settle on a new property today. However, just like the rest of the settlement stuff, there was an issue where the attorney for the seller couldn't be available. So now I had to extend my stay at this Airbnb and wait until this attorney gets back. I had hoped, and still hope, I will be settled in somewhere by the holidays, by Christmas, and you know, actually just needing to get out so badly. The Airbnb isn't bad. I mean, it has a washer and dryer, it has nice furniture, it's very clean, but it's a small space, and it's in an area that's more or less like a small city. I would say. But it's lots of dogs barking all the time, you know, lots of noise, sirens and stuff. And just all that, you know, it just makes for a lot of stress. And getting out in the woods and being able to walk in nature is one of the only stress relievers I have. So I'm trying to enjoy that today. And tomorrow I have a really exciting adventure planned with a friend of mine, and hopefully you'll join me for that. But for now we're still walking back to the trail juncture, so we'll finish this loop and I'll let you know if there's anything exciting. This is the open area between the road where we crossed over. The creek is over there, and that's where you head back into the woods. I forgot to show this part last time, but right up there is the road that we cross over to go back to the other side of the trail loop. So just before I turn off to the other part of the loop, I'm once again by this strange clump of bamboo and looking into the creek. Saw several fishermen along here. I don't see any right now, but I was reading on the sign that this is some kind of delayed harvest area and that you can only use artificial lure. Not really a fishing person or a fisherwoman, but just in case someone wants to come up here. And by the way, it's snowing again. Oh boy. Okay, heading back into the woods here for this final loop. Looks like it's a pretty dense area compared to the other, and the trail is not as wide. It's more of a normal trail that I would go on, but it's still very well maintained. I don't know if there's any sights or anything on it, but we're just going to continue on back to the car. It's about 1.9 miles here at this point, and I believe the total trail is 2.2, but we'll see. AllTrails is almost never right about that stuff. Okay, this is another warning about a cliff ahead. It's not the same one, so I'm going to take this. It looks like there's a long staircase here. I'm going to follow up and around. It has a railing. I'm not sure how far up it goes, but it looks a little interesting. Hopefully it won't be too far up. All right, another fork. Gotta check the map, but we are already at 2.2 miles, so AllTrails isn't right again. Okay, up here at the top, so this must be what they mean by a cliff. I don't know if you can tell. The creek is right down there. This is pretty much a pretty steady drop, and if you keep going, there's a little bit of a cliff here, but I don't know why it would be warning signs for something like this. This to me just looks like a normal part of a trail. So if you're worried about cliffs, this one is pretty much nothing to be worried about. Or this might be the cliff. It's a little further down. It's kind of overlooking the woods, but it's still off to the side and probably no danger of missing it or falling off of it. I don't know. It is a cool little overlook though. I mean, you can't really see much other than the trees down there. Wind's picking up. I don't know what the temperature is right now, but it was steadily dropping by the time I got here. So I'm kind of glad to get back into a nice warm car, but you know, knowing that I at least got out in the fresh air today. Guys, definitely bring a downloaded map with you There are trails everywhere through here, and if you don't have a map, you could get completely turned around. It looks like I'm supposed to go this way on the map, but then what happens is once I get to a certain spot, it looks like it loops back up and around and back down to close to the parking. So, you know, bring your map, enjoy, but just don't come out here and, you know, not expect to get lost if you have nothing to refer to. The trail marker that I took a picture of was the very first one I saw. And then I saw one sort of sketchy looking, almost not even a blaze after that. So I'm not even sure if there's any more markers along here. Okay, finally came out to something cool. These are some historic lime kilns. There's one right over there is the parking lot, the first parking lot that I would have pulled into, and then I pulled in up at the second one. And then over here are at least three more of the lime kilns. So they're kind of cool. Finally some historic value. So if you keep going, you will see some historic points of interest. However, if you just want to see them, you could probably just come up there from the parking lot. Just saying. We're going to continue on around this loop. Okay, just past some, I guess it's lime runoff, and come down here, and there's this really cool looking rock here off to the right. Not sure what that's all about, but it looks like something actually kind of cool. Let's get down here a little bit, see what we can see. Ah. This is like a little open area. Yeah, just a big old rock. But that's still more interesting than some of the other parts of the trail. This trail, I don't know, it's just like this extra little loop that they're having me follow. So hopefully there'll be some more points of interest that are worth it. So this path takes you kind of around this big clump of, I don't know what it is, pampas grass or cattail. I don't know what it is. I think it's pampas grass. Just a big clump of it. And well, there's still more. I mean, many other paths you can take. And, you know, if you want to explore and you have a map, I mean, this can take you out into the middle of these things. There's a bench over there. There's a bench back there. So, you know, you could be kind of adventurous as long as you have a map, you know, to find your way back. I'm down to 36% on my battery already. So I'm gonna have to hook in to my power pack very soon. But it kind of just looks like this, maybe there's stuff there in another season to look at. Birds and stuff like that, marsh animals, who knows. But there are definitely multiple paths aside from the one that I'm on. Right up here looks like there's a big old rock wall. Not sure if there's a railroad up there or what's going on. Looks like it goes for a ways. And we're on our way back to the car. Looks like the sun's trying to come back out. I hope. It stopped snowing again. It was just a light snow. Looking at some cool rocks along the side here. Just a natural rock wall. And we're on our way back to the parking lot. So I guess I'll see you when we get there. Okay, back at the car. That was a 2.5 mile trail. I don't know, it might have been because I did a couple little small detours, But it's definitely not just an out and back. Only one part of the trail where I showed you where you crossed over the road and went to the end of the creek and you came back, that's the only part that's out and back. The other part is a loop, and like I said, it looks like a place that once you got familiar with it, or you know, if you just had the whole day, you could take so many trails. There's a million trails. But I will tell you, if you're trying to follow the route that AllTrails is taking you, you definitely need to download that map, because I could not have figured out which way I was going. It's a well-maintained trail. Like I said, I only saw 2 markers, and that was it, and they were barely markers. The creek is beautiful. There was some other people out walking today. I didn't see any dogs, but on the sign it said you can have dogs on a leash. It just looks like a really nice place too, that people go fishing. So I saw more fishing people than I did actual walkers or hikers. But anyway, I got out in the fresh air and I'm happy about that. And I will be seeing you tomorrow on another adventure. If you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe, or just share. It always helps me to grow my channel. Until then, namaste.